Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezel, back again with another card fight Vanguard Ezel on the Vanity weekly review. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and jump to the Patreon. And let's get this one started. I'm recording this the day before they drop everything in the set, because if I've timed everything correctly, tomorrow, aka today for Tuesday, they are dropping every single card in the set, because they said that they've dropped everything important. We have Bastion, we know we're getting Bruce tomorrow most likely, we're most likely going to get Esperaridea too, and I'm expecting them to drop the whole set, because I've calculated that considering there's only 4 weeks left, or 5 weeks left before the collection sets drop, and they have yet to give us skills, and Bushy likes to wait till last minute to finish all of the skills, I predict that next week we're going to start getting skills, if not this week. So let's go ahead and get this started, because it's going to be helpful for me to record tomorrow. First up, we have Sealed Blaze Dragon Ardhala. 13k base, grade 300 Persona Ride, a double rare for Bastion. I get those two confused now. Auto, when it's placed on rear, if you have 1 arms on your Vanguard, Counterblast 1, choose a arm from your hand or drop and arm it to Vanguard, and continuous rear guard during your turn. If you have 2 or more arms on Van, it gets +5. So that's really good. During your turn, he's an 18k swinger, and on plays, you know, say for example your arm ended up in drop because maybe you just had to discard it, and you kind of need it to, you know, get Bastion's double arm ability off. Counterblast 1, get an arm from drop, and all around, it's really good. It just says arm it to Van. I don't think you have to pay the cost. Maybe you do, but Ardhala is definitely a really good card. I'm not going to run it because my deck's kind of already, it's already kind of in the Nirvana situation where now we're starting to run out of space. I'm okay with this thing. Run it at 2 over 3 if you have the space for it. I'm personally not going to run it because I like my space to be more focused on grade 1s than grade 3s and 2s. Next up, we have Blaze Kick Monk Koukei, grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 13k base, one of my favorite cards so far. Auto, when it's placed on rear, Counterblast 1, choose a grade 0 from your drop zone, call it to rear guard on the same column as this unit, and in this unit gets boost for the turn. So, my one thing with Trickstar before is that it was hard, it wasn't hard getting it out. The problem was making sure that it could hit when I would use Urger, so, you know, I'm not really wasting an attack. Yeah, this thing kind of makes it easier, because it's just Counterblast 1, call the Trickstar, and then Urger, so you're not counterblasting at all. Basically, it's just on plays, call the Trickstar, this thing gets boost. Problem with it is that it's after it's placed, the turn afterwards, it's just a vanilla. I think this card's okay. With the new Nirvana, definitely makes it better. I'm going to give this thing a 2 if you choose to run it. I'm not going to run it because I don't want to use the counterblast, even though we do have a counterblaster that acts as a countercharger. I don't really want to take that chance. 2 over 3 of though, in like a build that maybe has Urger. Next up, we have Helheim Verbentlage, which I might have to figure out how to put into my Bruce deck. I already questioning how I'm going to do it, considering we saw what Bruce did today, but we don't know its full ability, or well, the day this comes up, we will know its full ability, but since I'm recording this the day before, I only know half of its ability. Anyways, normal order, grade 3 normal order, as per usual. Discard a card from hand to play it. Countercharge 1, and if you're in Final Rush, draw 2, choose 2 cards from hand, call them to rear guards, and they get +5. So, draw 1, countercharge 1, call 2 cards, they get +5. So unfortunately, unlike the other 2 orders that you run in Bruce, the whole front row doesn't get the power, it's just the 2 units that get called. So if you call nothing, then, you know, you don't get the 5k, but you get a countercharge out of it, which is honestly the really good part about it, because who doesn't like a countercharge, especially with the new Bruce actually costing counterblast for his skill. It's really nice to have this. I give it a 2 of if you run it. I might run it, I might not, depends on if I have the space for it. Next up, we have Diabolos Jetbacker Wade. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Act rear guard if you have a Vanguard boost in this card name. Put it to soul, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets +10k for the turn until end of turn. So, honestly, that is really good. It is definitely along the lines of Bruce restands himself, which also reminds me of the fact that, as per usual with the other grade 4 so far, I have actually predicted all of their skills, or at least half their skills, in advance. Bastion, before on camera, I said Bastion would restand columns. Not on column, sorry. I said he would restand on Van, but then jokingly 2 nights ago, I told my friend that I predict that it's going to just restand a unit and give it +10, and then I jokingly said that, oh, you know what, I think Bastion's going to be the one that restands columns, and then Bruce is going to be the one that restands the Vanguard. Never did I imagine once that I was remotely correct on that, because Bruce restands front row, including himself. Bastion can restand any grade 3, which is technically a column. So, I don't know, somehow I've been getting all the good skills right. I don't understand how, but sure. Wade is really good, though. He gets you a soul. He gives your Vanguard the 10k. And since Bruce is not restanding, that's really good. I personally not going to use this because, yeah, the soul is nice and all, and it's for free, but I kind of... Oh, but it's an axe skill, so, yeah, not going to do it. I give it a 2/3 of. Next up, we have Diabolos Girl Stephanie, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Continues rear if you're in final rush, all of your units in the same combat get +5 power. So... Oh, is this why they finally decided to change the final rush ruling? I know the real reason, but is this the other reason? Maybe because they had this plan and they thought, yeah, maybe final rush on the opponent's turn is a bit too good. So just in case any confusion arises, let's go ahead and make sure that it doesn't. So, you know, 5k is good. You know, making sure that all your units hit for stronger, even with the battle that's not boosting. Honestly, I like Stephanie for this, especially with the art of the guns. I'll give it a 2 of. Next up, we have Sharp Turn Gear Eagle, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear, when the attack this unit boosted hits, retire it, choose a grade 1 unit from your soul, call it to rear guard. Okay, get you basically a better booster. So, like, you can attack with it, kill it, call something else, and it's all around really good because that means you get to replace your booster and one of your attacks is hitting for bigger. My thing behind this is that it's getting rid of a soul, and I don't want to do that. My deck has an excess amount of soul, but if they survive a long enough time, I eventually run out of soul. So I'll give it a 2/3 for that, but I'm probably not going to run it, especially because it's not a Diabolos. Next up, we have Invocation of Heavenly Spear, Kornwolk. I love this card's art, but I hate its effing skill. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Persona Ride, 13k base. After rear guard, Soul Blast 1, restless unit, look at top 3. Choose up to 1 card, grade 3 or greater unit from among them. Unit card with a different name from this unit from among them. Call it to rear guard and put the rest on bottom of the deck in any order. The really good thing about this is you can use this to search Bastion. The really bad thing about this is you can't use it properly because it says grade 3 or greater and call it to rear guard. Now, Bastion doesn't have a rear guard skill. The new one doesn't, unless I read it wrong. We'll get to that later. Neither of the Bastions have a rear guard skill. So automatically that's really bad. I don't know, I question greatly why they said grade 3 or greater unit card when I don't think Key or Sanctuary can bounce, and if they can, so be it, but I don't want this, especially because you're getting the same amount of tax out of it anyways, and you're just wasting a soul from it, so I'm gonna go 2 on this one, but in reality, I'm not running this. Ease Rod's better. Next up, we have Injection Angel. Grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when it's placed on rear. If your damage zone has a face-up card in it, put a trigger unit from your hand into your damage zone face down. Choose a face-up card in your damage zone, put it to hand. So basically, counterblast 1 to add something to hand. So they ripped this straight from Angel Feather. Very interesting that they gave us an Angel Feather card. Is that a prediction for the future of what our next new ride line would be? I wanted golds, but I'm fine with angels, I guess. I just find this interesting, that's all. That you would willingly sack a trigger for something that might be equally worse. Not really sure about that one, but I'll give this thing a 2/3 of. I'm not using this though, because I will refuse to use this in Hex Orb, and I'm not going to use it in Bastion, and PBD already has enough cards. Next up, we have Cardinal Draco Khaljamiad, 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Continues rear guard if your world is Dark Knight or Abyssal Dark Knight. This unit gets boost and can intercept from the back row. Next up is Cardinal Draco Khaljamiad, 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. A really good double rare for Orphis, by the way. Continues rear guard if your world is Dark Knight or Abyssal Dark Knight. This unit gets boost and intercept from the back row. And can intercept from the back row, which is really good because some builds, like the aggressive one, you constantly lose a lot of rear guards and you don't want to make up those shadow tokens back up immediately because it costs too much resources. So this is really good interceptor or booster, so that's really good. And then continues guard circle. If your world is Abyssal Dark Knight, this unit gets plus 10k shield, which, you know, makes it a 15k guard, and because you can call it to back row, definitely good. I used to run the cat thing that's like counterblast 1. You get shield if you're in Dark Knight, you get shield if you're in Abyssal Dark Knight. Yeah, this one's better because it can also boost for stronger numbers. So, I give this thing a 3 of, honestly, or a 4 of, just because of how good it is. That is a genuinely good double rare. If you get this as a triple rare and the grade 3 as a double rare, I would have taken it. Next up, we have Melt in the Darkness, My Evil Heart. A lot of people like this set because we're finally getting what quote-unquote good blitz orders instead of like 5k blitz orders. Now everyone's getting like a really good one because this one swings into 50s if you get it right. Because it's a grade 3 blitz order, counter plus 1 to play this. Choose one of your units, and for each Shadow Army token on the field, it gets plus 10k to end of battle. So if you have 5 Shadow Army tokens, gets plus 50. That is well, one doubtable. You most likely only have 3 at the time, but still really good because, you know, that basically rivals an overtrigger. So all around, I think this order's pretty good. I don't run it in my build because my deck needs space for other orders like the Worlds, and it doesn't need more counterblasters. So I give this thing a 2 if you choose to run it, but I'm not going to run it at all. And last card for at this moment of Monday for today, but then we're still going to continue the video after this, is Apex-surpassing sword, Bastion de Prime! First off, I hate how they animated this in the anime. Like, I've hated Nirvana, I've hated Magnolia, I hated Pure Light, I hated effing Bruce, I hate the way they animated all of them. For the love of God, it's... I don't know, it just looks complete. Some of them look underdone, and then some of them don't even look like they tried. I don't know, maybe that's just my opinion. Bruce barely looks different. Bastion's the only one that actually looks remotely cool, and even then I don't like him. Nirvana I hate, and I would willingly set that thing on fire. Pure Light was fine, despite the fact I hate it, and Magnolia just... no. Anyways, 13k base, grade 4 triple drive. Continuous Vanguard. During your turn, all your front range gets +2. Okay, so this is both better and worse than the original, because the original also gave +2, but it gave it to all grade 3, so technically it could hit a board. This one only gives it to front row, but any units in the front row. Now what I wish they did is that it said give +5 to the front row, so it's at least like, you know, give him more power balance, and that would have been okay of a replacement instead of just a 2. But then its second skill is inherently better. By auto Vanguard, once per turn, at the end of the battle, your draft check revealed a grade 3 or greater, so unlike Bastion that's restricted to a grade 3, at least he can check himself. Put a card with Bastion in its card name from your hand or soul into drop, stand all of your grade 3 rear guards, and they get +10k for the turn. So basically, if you see a grade 3 and your 2 columns on the side both have grade 3s in them, the front row ones are at 15 each on their own, the back row ones are at 13, so they're originally 28 columns, now they're 48 columns. My problem with this, it's not that it requires a Bastion, because weirdly enough, this is the deck that is easier to get the grade 3 in. The problem with this is, it requires them to be grade 3s. The original Bastion picked anyone and gave it +10. This specifically restricts it to grade 3s. Good news is you don't have to discard 4, and in my game against it, and in my game against Gravidia, I did make a misplay where I discarded, but it's fine. But this just makes it worse, because if you don't have grade 3s, and they don't stand, and they don't get power. So, in my opinion, this one's, like, the power you can get from this, it is far greater than Bastion's regular power. But my problem with this is that it is inherently weaker if you don't have an actual board made up. That's my problem with this. You get one more attack, but your board might honestly be weaker. That's my go on that. And it has such a good art too. It feels like, and I like the skill, but it's more of a flashy skill than a good skill, I guess is what I would call it. I give it a 3 of, just because like it can still check itself, but I honestly don't know what to do with this one. And it's not like I haven't tested it out either, because I did test it out beforehand. I've already recorded the match that's going up later today for it. Or that might have come up before this, honestly. I don't know. 3 of for it. I'm gonna run it in all my decks, but I still hate it. I don't know about this one, really. This is, like, all the other ones seem fine. The Bruce I'm gonna question depending on what its skill is going to do. I give this a 3 of, I guess. Nothing better, nothing less. Our next card is Blade of Heavenly Oath Freit. Grade 3, 200 persona red, 13k base. Continues rearguard. During your turn, if your Vanguard is an Apex-surpassing sword Bastion Prime, this unit gets +5. And auto rear, when this unit stands by your card's effect, if your opponent's Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, this unit gets +5 for the turn. Okay, so first off, the first effect is very disappointing, because Magnolia got its one support card, I think it was called Panthuro, where it just requires you to have a Bastion Vanguard. It does not require you to have a specific, the grade 4 Vanguard. And same with like the Nirvana support card, where as long as where it just gets the benefit if you're on the grade 4, but it can work regardless if you're on the grade 4 or not. This one names it. It doesn't say if you're at Vanguard's a grade 4, which means specifically it has to be this one, which is bad. So, like, this thing can't, that ability doesn't work in non-Bastion grade 4 decks, but then the other ability is really good, where when it stands by a card effect, it doesn't matter which Bastion stands it gets another +5. So, half its ability is okay, and then the other half is exponentially good. Like, hell, I may hate Bastion, maybe it's just because of my luck, I am going to rebuild my Bastion deck to try to focus more on this guy, which is why the video that you saw earlier today, or that is going to show up today, one of the two, I don't know which one's going to get uploaded first. I know they're going to go up on the same day, but I'm not sure which one to get uploaded first. I'm going to end up building a new Bastion deck to try to fit this guy, because I built a new Bruce deck to fit Bruce, and same with the other ones, so we'll see how it happens. Freit is an okay card. I'm going to give him a 2 over 3 for the benefit of the doubt, but he's free though, so I have reasons not to run Alden anymore, which means I can actually build a decent Bastion deck. Alden, you're out of the deck, motherfucker! I'll give this thing a 3 of. Next up we have Scout of Heavenly Eyes Tove. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 7k base. Auto when it appears in your drive check. If your Vanguard has Bastion in its card name, there's the Bastion named support card. Put this card into drop zone, your opponent puts all their front and rear guards to the bottom of their deck in any order. So, if you drive check this, they lose their front row. Here's my thing. This is not what Bastion needed. Any matchup I've had with Bastion, never once have or any matchup I've seen with Bastion, never once have I seen the need to just use this as a field nuke. And I'm pretty sure we have a normal order that came in set 1, which is like downswing sort of judgment. I mean, yeah, Soul Blasting in grade 3 now, maybe a bit hefty if you don't run a fluke, but I feel like this could have been better, where instead of saying it gets the front row, it could have been it counts as a grade 3 in your drive check, which would have been better. So then the old Bastion could use it, and then the new Bastion could use it. I don't think there was a point of this. I really don't. Like, the only good news that is out of this is just it has the Bastion restrictive name. It doesn't count. It doesn't care about which Bastion's on Van. But I personally don't think this is a good card. If you want to run it at 2, but I'm not gonna run it in any of my builds, so yeah. And to end it off, because apparently I was wrong, we have our last double rare for Bastion, and we have our 2 triple rares, which are Bruce and Vairina. So let's go ahead and get them started with Heavenly Arrow of Sure Hit Sparare. 13k base, grade 3 200 Persona Ride. Auto from a rearguard circle. When this unit stands by your Vanguard ability, you may Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. So that's really good. It gets, a draw. Which doesn't cost a Counter Blast, which means you get more resources to work with. Downside is you might Soul Blast a Bastion in the process, but since my deck doesn't actually have any real Soul Blasters, to my memory, I think I may have 1 Soul Blaster, this would actually be a welcome addition to my deck, especially because of its second ability, which continues back row rearguard circle. During your turn, all your other rearguards in the same column as it get +5, so really good. Even if you don't have a card that gives them boost, he's still permanently boosting the unit in front of him, so all around that's really good. I actually like this. It gets versatility from being in front row, it gets versatility for being in back row. All around, this thing's really good and definitely a welcomed addition in my deck. I don't have space to put it at 4, but I have space to put it in at 3, so I'm going to give it a 3 of. Next up we have Diabolos, Unrivaled Brisi. Grade 4, triple drive, 13k base. Honestly, before, if you asked me if I like this thing's art, I did say I hated it, but then when you suddenly slap a skill on it, it suddenly looks really good to me. I don't know why. Skill, auto van at the start of your ride phase until end of turn, you Final Rush, and auto van once per turn at the end of the battle that it attacked. If you're in Final Rush, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 5, stand all of your front row units and gets -2 drive for the turn. Okay, we all knew what it was gonna do. Let's be honest. We all knew its second ability would be the restand because we saw it in the anime and they blatantly explained how to do it. A lot of people were hoping that it would have Final Rush, and obviously it would. But then a lot of people thought it wouldn't because it never specified that the second ability wasn't Final Rush until today. So, it's a good ability, It's 1 more cost than Bruce's regular ability, which is just Soul Blast 5 to restand in the front row. Now it's Soul Blast 5 and Counter Blast 1, but you get to restand himself too. And if you use it with Mabel, you get 2 triple drives. So, and it's once per turn, obviously. So, I like this. My only downside is I won't be able to use cards like Leonard to their full capabilities, but I was still able to use Urger really well in my Nirvana deck just because of how I played and how my playstyle goes, and I was able to use Leonard perfectly fine. So really, I don't think I'm losing out on anything. I'm just not using Leonard to his full capabilities because The funny thing is, I could probably tech this in, and my deck would probably not change that much, considering what I play with. So Unrivaled Bruce is actually a welcomed addition to my deck, and at a 3 of, because, he's just really good. And then our last card for today is the boy who obviously I've been waiting for because he's a part of my deck, but now I have to find more ways to shove him in because I had to shove out a lot of cards just to put in the fucking grade 4. Vairina Esperaridea. Grade 3, grade 4, triple drive, 13k base, overdress Trickstar, and when you overdress it, auto, when it's placed on rear, if it is in the overdress state, put all your Trickstars with cards with the overdress ability from your drop zone as this unit's original dresses. Which means if you have an Arc, Vairina, and 2 Trickstars in your drop zone, and this overdress on top of the 3rd Trickstar, all those cards that went into your drop zone that are Trickstar and overdress units, go onto this thing. Cool. So this thing just transcends the idea of overdress, and auto rear once per turn when your Vanguard attacks, Soul Blast 1 stand this unit, and this unit gets +5 until end of turn for each of this unit's original addresses. The worst part about this is I technically called this, because I said it would restand itself. I never said where, but I said it would restand itself. And I'm so upset by that, because I've called at least one ability from every card. But you know what? I'm fine with this, because the funny part is, it's a better version of Valiente. And if, honestly, I'm kind of debating about getting rid of Valiente for this, but I want all of them. Well, that's really good, because it only costs a Soul Blast. Urger makes that slightly more difficult. Actually, that makes sense, because this is meant to replace Urger and Valiente. But I'm not going to replace either, because I kind of, want them. If I run out of space, then I'll replace one of them. And he gets that stand ability, so, more pressure, and he gets +5k for each of your original dresses. So, not expecta. No, what was I going with this? This is basically, I'm trying to think about it. It is Valiente, basically. It is Valiente shoved in with a little bit of Urger and maybe a slight bit of Expecta. And then the other two just kind of get shoved in there. Honestly, it's really good. Gets the restand for the cost of only a Soul Blast, which is really good on the resources, which is normally Counterblast heavy. So this is actually really appreciated. Like, I don't know how I'm going to fit it in without getting rid of something I don't want to get rid of. But I can definitely see me using this hard 3 of. Because 4 of this would be a bit too much. So hard 2 over 3 of. And that was it for the reviews for this week. Honestly, all of them are pretty good. We got Bastion, who after rebuilding my deck, because as of Sparare, right before I did Sparare, I rebuilt my Bastion deck, used it, and it was actually a lot more consistent than today's video. So if you see today's video before this one, then okay, so Bastion is more consistent now, but besides the one that shows today. But if after, okay, I fixed my Bastion deck. Like, you don't need to complain about it. And then Bruce got some really good cards. Bastion got that really versatile card. And Esperaridea, I'm going to have to find a way to shove him into the deck without getting rid of something I don't want to get rid of. But I think I have confidence in this deck. So, I'm ending here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, join the Discord, follow the Twitch. They're probably going to reveal the rest of the set to next week. And probably start with revealing the cards from the collection sets too. So I hope you guys are prepared for that. And I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.